Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching Open Mind Podcast. I am your host and producer, Annabelle Rodriguez, and my right-hand lady to my left is the beautiful Danny DeVoe.
Hello, hello.
So the Open Mind Podcast is going to be a special series on the Dreams to Reality Network, where we're going to be tackling subjects in the mental health field. The purpose of this show is to provide information to anyone that finds it beneficial. And my co-host, the beautiful Danny DeVoe, is also the CEO of Open Mind Marriage and Family Therapy. She's also a licensed psychotherapist.
Yep.
So all the information that's going to be provided is going to be from her experience as a licensed therapist. And we hope that you love it. So today's subject we're going to be tackling is anger. So please welcome to the show.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome.
Welcome to our first episode.
How are you feeling?
Great.
I'm
ready for this.
I'm feeling anxious. It's our first show.
Well, that's very normal.
I mean, it only took me like 10 takes to nail this
What are you talking about? This is
opener.
The first one.
I was just telling you, I usually nail these things on the first take, Just so you guys know, none of this is scripted other than the intro. I try to get, a little excitement going on the intro. So I try to come up with a couple of keywords to say.
Yes.
And let's just say that I nailed it all on the first take. It was amazing. It was
That's
beautiful.
what I saw.
So how's your morning been today, Danny?
It's been really relaxing. It's a Saturday. I had off, so it's just kind of easing into the day. And
yeah, you said you wanted to sleep in, huh?
I did.
Did you sleep in?
No.
Oh my God.
I got up at 8:30.
I hate when that happens.
Clock.
Yeah. When you're used to waking up at a certain time, your body just no matter what wakes up at that time.
Well, most of my clients are at 9 o'clock. So my natural getting up is like 8:15, 8:30-ish.
Yeah.
And now it's just like automatic.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks again for, driving all the way over here.
Yeah.
I know you're close to LAX.
Yep.
So it's a little bit of a drive coming down here to the Dreams to Reality studios.
Yes.
But now that you're part of the network, we're going to be having your show air. I know right now we're going to be doing it once a month.
Yes.
But I honestly do believe that the subjects that we're going to be talking about are very beneficial to everybody, regardless of whether you're an entrepreneur or you're trying to accomplish a big goal or you're just living your life.
Yeah.
Mental health is a crucial part of success and of happiness and of fulfillment. And if you don't understand it and you don't work on yourself, your life is going to be difficult, and I know this just personally from my own life experiences, and knowing where emotions come from and how to control them and how to maneuver through your mindset is very, very, very important. And as I do more and more of these interviews with successful people, the number one thing that I see that they have over other people is mindset, the right mindset to get them ahead in life.
Yep.
And to help them resolve issues and not to allow them to turn into victims.
Yes.
And into, people that are just causing mayhem in the world. So we must always look internally. We must always look at ourselves first before we point the finger. And I think, this podcast is really going to help a lot of people.
That's the hope.
From the last episode that I had you on where we interviewed you, I knew not only from that episode, but from just our friendship that you have a lot of value to provide and a lot of insight and a lot of practical tools that people can use to help them be better.
Function at their capacity that they want to function at.
Exactly. So today's subject, we're talking about anger.
Yes.
Something that is very near and dear to my heart.
You live very close to it.
Yeah, he's a homie. You know.
Well, you got to make friends with it.
Yeah, anger is an interesting emotion. They call it a secondary emotion because it's usually caused by another feeling that you have within. So the first thing I want to talk about is what is anger. Where it comes from, and then from there we can talk about different situations because I do believe there's different forms of anger. Being I'm upset, I'm pissed off, or seeing red and not being in control of your actions and your emotions. And it's kind of it's a tricky thing, because there's so many different layers to it. So sorry. But I do want to get your feedback and your advice on how to handle it. So first thing is, from your experience, what is anger and where does it come from?
Okay, so that's a loaded question. But anger it's an important emotion, right? Just
Yes.
like joy, happiness, sadness, etc., right?
Yeah.
It's an emotion that's giving you information,
Yeah.
right? Anger usually is stimulated when someone feels like their boundaries are not being honored, or they've been crossed, or
Yeah.
they've been betrayed, or there's parts of themselves that they're not honoring, right? Or
Yeah.
trauma can also create a lot of anger.
Yeah.
Same with depression, right? That is actually the number one sign for children that have depression is anger.
Yeah.
Right?
It's, I think it comes a lot from frustration,
100%.
because they're feeling sad and they don't know how to change that.
Yep.
And that sadness turns into aggression, into anger.
Yeah.
So
It
that's
builds.
that's pretty, that is very common.
Yeah, and a lot of people are not comfortable with their anger. A lot of people deny it. And so with the repression of anger,
Yeah.
it starts to build, right?
Yeah.
It's the volcano that just starts to come up
Yes. Yes.
because society, we want to be accepted. And if
Right.
you're constantly showing your anger, what does that mean? You're not going to be accepted by society.
Yeah.
When you do show your anger in an unhealthy, repressed way,
Yeah.
there's consequences,
Right.
right? As we know.
Yeah.
So I think that anger stems from a lot of different places within self that people have to look at
Yeah.
and not shame,
Yeah.
but also look at the behavior behind it.
Yes.
And we'll dive deeper into that because there are a lot of effects of the body too that anger creates.
Right. Yeah. One of the things that I want to dive deep into that you just mentioned right now, is, the effects of anger.
Yep.
Because like you said, there's consequences to your anger. And I do believe that it is it is a necessity. Anger is a necessity to our survival.
100%.
And it is hardwired into our biology. So on a biological level, what anger is, it's an emotion. Something happens to you.
Yep.
And you get angry. Where does that come from? It's your body and your brain. You have your amygdala. It produces chemicals,
Yes.
neuropeptides, neurotransmitters. And some of those are sadness. It produces that hormone. Some of them are joy and happiness, and some of them are anger.
Yeah.
And the main hormone that's produced when you're angry is neuroleprin.
Yes.
And what's the other one?
Epinephrine.
Epinephrine. And what those make you do is that they increase your blood pressure. Your heart rate starts pounding. Your face gets flushed with blood.
Yep.
And
Turn red.
You turn red. Your voice gets more angry, and you get this rush of energy.
Your muscles tense
Your
too.
muscles tense up. And every single person in this world has experienced anger because, like I said, it's a necessity. It is hardwired in our biology to survive. Before there were iPhones and, your nice little cups here and, you got your running water and all of that. We were out there, on the plains fighting against the world, and we needed to have certain tools to survive. And anger was a crucial representation that you needed to take action. And like you said, there was boundaries that needed to be,
respected. Yeah.
To survive.
Yep.
And when those boundaries were not met, the consequences back in the day were a lot dire than they are today. Now if you don't know how to control your anger, you might do something bad, and you might lose your job, or you might go to prison, or you might do something.
Lose friendships, family members.
Yeah.
Isolate people from you.
Yeah, but it's a very important emotion, but it also it's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's beneficial.
Yeah, if you don't control it and you allow it to control you, it can be very, very negative. And you can kill people, you can harm yourself, you can destroy your reputation, you can make it where all of your friends and family do not want to be around you because you're just an angry person. It's supposed to be used for a specific purpose to set those boundaries, to protect yourself, to, know what you like, what you don't like, what you want in life, to help you accomplish goals, give you that extra energy. But the way you control it is with your rational brain.
Consciousness.
Yes. So we know that in order to control your emotions, you have to use your prefrontal cortex, which is the thinking part of your brain. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times people that have had like brain trauma, like CTE,
or drug use,
alcohol, you jack up your rational thinking.
Yes.
And now you're no longer in control.
Well, and that's the other thing too, drug use before you're 25, right? Your brain doesn't stop growing or developing until that age.
Yeah.
At least your prefrontal cortex component, right? And so if you're using or abusing it or getting it injured within those couple years, you're doing damage to your decision making and your response system around the emotions. And anger is an easy emotion, especially for men, to lean into.
Yeah.
It's familiar. It's accepted in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
for men to show their anger.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, anger is a part of our biology, and it's for our survival. Men typically have been the ones that, are put in charge of the survival. Mm-hmm. We go to war. We're the ones that, protect our family. While our wife is pregnant, she can't really defend for herself, so we have to protect her. So we have to have that extra aggression. That's why testosterone, the hormone testosterone, if, it produces aggressiveness. The more someone has more testosterone, the more aggressive they are because it is a male hormone, So yes, it is in society a little bit more accepted for a man to be aggressive and to be assertive and to be, have that emotion more than a female. Mm-hmm. If a female or a woman, shows those things, she's like, oh, she's not being girly. She's not being
there's
this.
A lot of judgment around that.
Yeah, she's being aggressive. Even in fighting, like for a long time, it was not looked well upon to have female fighters. Mm-hmm. It's only a couple of years ago that they had female fighters in the UFC and in different stuff because, there are certain stigmas that women shouldn't, be angry or aggressive. They should be more nurturing because that is part of their biology.
Yeah, but we women have anger.
Of course.
Right?
Of course.
Rightfully so, in a lot of different reasons.
We're all human.
We're all human.
Yeah.
And I think that, the chemical component on the body, when you have repressed anger is like, try taking a blown up beach ball, and try to push it underneath water. There's a lot of resistance, right? And a lot of energy and effort that you have to do to push down that ball underwater. That's repression of anger. Yeah. That's exhausting. That takes time. Over time, if you've learned to do that and cope, especially for women, with anger of not showing it, I'm not going to be excited, I'm not going to be desired by a man if I show this type of anger towards the situation, it's increasing autoimmune disease within women, right? Wow. 80% of women have autoimmune disease, or 80% of autoimmune disorders is women.
Wow,
right?
I didn't know that.
Yep. And so within that, it creates physiological effects, like an increase of IBM, irritable bowel syndrome.
Yeah, I've heard of people get like ulcers and stuff from being angry all the time.
They do. Right? And it's because it's taking the emotion, right? How much mental health is so important.
Yeah.
For the body of attunement, because it is taking a physiological effect on you. Yeah.
Norepinephrine and epinephrine, if it's constantly being produced in your body, it leads to heart issues.
Yeah.
You get an enlarged heart because it's always pounding and you have high blood pressure.
Mm-hmm.
You have a higher chance of heart attack if you're being upset all the time. So your psychology and your physiology affects your biology.
For sure. Your nervous system, your gut, your immune system, all of it.
It's all connected, So I know that, anybody out there that has experienced, not having control of that anger knows that it's a dangerous thing, And personally, in my life growing up, I can remember feeling angry and not expressing it, just holding it all in. And I would always hold in all my anger until it exploded. Like you said, that beach ball that you put on the wall, that pressure's building up, pressure's building up, pressure's building up. You're allowing your boundaries to be trampled on. You're getting disrespected. You're getting mistreated. You're not being treated fairly. You feel that, you know, you're being overlooked or whatever. And all of these emotions that you're feeling inside, initially they're not anger. They're like, you know,
sadness,
frustration, all that. But then they start to turn into anger. And one day something happens that triggers that last little hay, you know, on the camel's back that it just unleashes a part of you that we all have. We all have a part of our personality that's aggressive and mean and cruel. Yeah. And if you allow yourself to get to that point, and then you see the negative side effects, like, damn, I just said all this mean stuff to someone I care about. Yep. Or I just beat up my best friend because he said something.
And it will forever be changed because you can't take it back.
Yeah, there's certain things that once they're broken, they're broken. You can't mend them.
You can try to fix it. It's like the Chinese proverb of like, once you break a vase, although you can put it back together, right? Yeah. But you're going to still see the cracks.
Yeah, you'll see the cracks. And, you know, there's certain things that we all know. Once it's done, it's done. Yep. You know, like if in a fit of rage, you hit your best friend and he falls and he cracks his head and he dies, there's no bringing him back. And you're going to pay the consequences. You're going to go to prison for a very long time, and you've affected his family. You've affected your family. You've just literally destroyed lives. So, which is why I thought this was a very important subject to tackle on our first episode, is to give people practical information on how they can use their rational thoughts to first become aware. You know, where is this anger coming from? You know, how can I prevent myself from allowing myself to get all this bottled up anger, you know, and how can I, you know, step away when I see myself getting out of control, you know, because now, you know, I've experienced life, you know, I've been through those moments of ruining relationships and ruining friendships and, you know, not being genuine to myself and to others, and it's caused mayhem. And in order for me to succeed in life and business and whatever I do, I realized that I had to be in control of my emotions and in my thoughts. And part of that was addressing the issues that I had, or I guess have, because I'm still working on it, with anger, you know. And as I started to see my therapist, which you recommended, you know, I pinpointed, you know, where the anger came from. And then there was different tools that were given to me to first be aware when I was, you know, getting angry. And for me, it's usually the same thing as feeling disrespected. Yeah. It's one of the biggest ones for me.
The boundary.
You know, when someone disrespects me, there's like something triggers me. I'm like, what'd you say? You know, or what'd you do? Or no. And before, what I would do in those situations, I wouldn't do anything. I would just let the disrespect come over and I'm like, man, whatever, I'll just let it go. But I didn't let it go. It was festering inside. It was festering me. And then something worse is that I would ruminate on it. I would like think back like,
it would rob you.
I should have beat the shit out of this guy, or I should have done this, or I should have done that, or I should have said this. And then, you know, that was me not being genuine, not being authentic, and not setting boundaries, you know. And I realized, no, never again. So now when there's things, because things happen, people upset you.
Of course. And people will push your boundaries because they don't know what your boundaries are.
And it's okay to address them like, hey, that upset me, man. Like, I didn't appreciate the way you said that. You know, we need to resolve this now in an amicable way, because if I don't address it and bring it up right now, tomorrow you might say something that else and I'll snap at you because of the thing that happened yesterday. And that happens in relationships every day.
All the time.
Husband and wife, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend,
trigger
all of that
each
stuff.
other
Yeah,
beyond
constantly.
Anyone else. Yeah.
And I was watching this lady on Instagram talking about, you know, arguments in relationships. I don't know if you saw that little post I put.
I did. Yeah.
And she said they're necessary. They're necessary to set boundaries and to resolve issues.
Yes.
We're all human. We're all going to have disagreements. But if we don't set boundaries and resolve issues, then they're constantly going to be coming back.
When I have clients that are couples and they're like, we don't fight. And I'm like, uh-oh. We got some issues. You will fight one day. Yeah, we'll prepare, right? Because truth's going to come out. Because when you withhold so much within yourself. And again, it goes back to what we talked about in the last podcast, right?
Yeah.
The safety of communication.
Yes.
And how to be received when you're expressing something.
Yes.
And
yes,
that
yes.
is the most valuable part, right? Where,
Correct.
hey, husband, right? My feelings are being hurt when you do this behavior.
Yeah.
Not you do this to me and how dare you and da 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 da. Because pointing the finger is shaming,
Yeah.
right? And it's not about the person, it's the behavior that they're doing that we want changed.
Yeah.
But a lot of times in relationships, there's suppression of even expressing that emotion, which builds to resentment, builds
Yes.
to anger.
Yes.
And then at one point where you're in a fight and all the stuff from a year ago for that whole year you've been in a relationship is coming into the table and you're like, wait, what? How did I know not? You don't know, and you can't tackle it in that moment anymore because now it's just a memory.
Yeah, that's a tough part about, relationships is, like we had said before, without the psychological and emotional safety, there is no relationship, because you cannot address issues. You can't say like, hey, I cleaned the whole house and I did this for you and you didn't even say thank you. You don't say that to your partner because you're afraid that they're going to get mad at you and hit you or something, or they're going
or they're just going to express an anger that might trigger something within you that might go inward.
Yeah. Or something else happens and you don't address it because you're afraid of the way that they're going to react to you.
Yes.
Or because you feel that they're going to turn it around on you. You're just causing more suppression, more buildup, more resentment. And that relationship is doomed no matter what. Because
I don't know if there's doom. I think that there's always opportunity to work, right? And I think that's where the couples have to go, this is what we're doing. We need to work on this.
Yes. If it's not worked on.
If it's not worked on. Yes. If they don't do the work and nothing changes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I believe.
Or they can stay together miserable.
Exactly. It's all a choice.
Yeah.
Right. We all have choice.
You don't have to be happy.
Right.
You don't have to.
You don't have to do any of it. Right.
You walk around being an angry asshole all you want.
Yeah. That's a choice. Right.
Yeah.
But you're also going to get a consequence with that.
Exactly.
And I think that's the biggest. So going back to anger, right? The biggest thing that I've noticed with my male clients and my female clients, women and men experience anger very differently.
Yeah.
With women, there's a lot of shame and a lot of powerlessness when they are in their anger. It's unsafe. With men, that's how they only know how to operate, and that's their conditioning. Yeah. Right? And so it's like I have to do different work processes for each individual.
Explain that a little bit more, because I find that very interesting, and it makes sense to me.
Yeah. So overall, anger, right, is when someone's feeling angry at someone and they're reacting and they're taking it out on them, or they're even being passive aggressive. That's anger, by the way. It's just repressed anger, which most women operate from.
Yeah.
But anger is, I want you to feel my pain and what I'm feeling inside. So I'm going to take it out on you so you can feel what I'm feeling. Yeah. Right? Hurt people. Right. Right. And so that component, I always coach either with women or men. I always say, by you taking your anger out on someone, you're letting them win. Yeah. You're literally telling them, you got to me. You just took my power by you reacting the way you're reacting. Right. Now, if you come back to self and you look at, okay, I'm feeling this kind of anger. This is what's coming up. Where is it coming from? Yeah. Right. So men have more comfortability with expressing their anger, their frustration. They get a little louder, right, when they're talking about something. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Right? It's more acceptable to take up more space, right? Especially even in relationships. Yeah. Right? Men can talk to their partner a certain way, but if the partner starts challenging, that's not okay. Yeah. Even within society, it's been normalized. Yeah. Hence why women are so scared of showing their anger.
That makes sense, because, I mean, men are way bigger and stronger, generally speaking, than women. Yeah. So like you said, they take up most. As soon as you see a man angry, what does he do? Puffs up his chest. Gets loud. Yep. His voice gets deeper.
Takes up space.
He balls up his fist like he's about to punch you, And it's an aggressive gesture of the feelings that are inside.
Yes.
You know, so what's on the inside shows on the outside always. And like you said, that makes sense that for women, since they don't have that, they use different ways of expressing it. You know, yeah, passive aggressive is definitely one of them, you know, but you know, some females also do puff up their chest and
for sure.
get gangster. You
well,
know?
and that's the part of the woman, right? The dynamic of their conditioning of being fed up.
Yeah.
Right. And then stepping in or their own childhood of where they had to have that strong response system for survival.
Right.
Right. Anger, again, is information and a tool. And a lot of the times, anger for those who are in survival rate or survival mechanism go to anger.
Right.
Because that's what keeps them safe. Real emotions, sadness, hurt, all of that is not safe.
Yeah.
But that's what's underneath the anger.
Right.
Right? So it's a mask.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a coping mechanism, a survival mechanism.
Yep.
And that makes a lot of sense. Like I said, anger is an important tool to your survival.
It is.
You know, but now let's talk about how to use it properly.
Yep.
How to set boundaries.
Yep.
How to communicate. First, I think the most important thing is to become aware of your emotions.
It is. It's the key.
Because a lot of the times emotions are like a drug. They're literally a chemical, you know. So if you're addicted to that neurolephrine and epinephrine or whatever it is, if you're addicted to, you know,
that feeling of power,
whatever emotion you're addicted to, and you're going to constantly repeat it, it becomes a habit. And now your habit is, in order for you to take control of your life, you just need to be angry, you know. And there's people like that are actually pretty successful, but they're horrible to be around, and nobody wants to be around them because they're just dicks, you know. And that's a medical term, by the way. I'm just kidding. And you know, I think the first part is being aware. Of your emotions. Yeah. And then from there, finding tools and tactics on how to address that anger. I know there's like breathing techniques, there's different things. So that's where your expertise comes in hand. And I want you to go over different tactics, different tools, different things that people can do to use their anger in a positive way. Or beneficial. Or a beneficial way to help them just live a better life, and also to accomplish goals. Because I think as you set a big goal, whatever it is, you're going to come across obstacles. And for me, one of the things that cause anger in me a lot is also frustration. And frustration comes from not getting what you want, you know, and either the time that you want it or exactly how you want it, or like, you know, I want to get to my office today at 9 o'clock. I leave my house at 9:30, and there's a shitload of traffic, and I have no control over it. Now I start getting frustrated, and next thing you know, I'm mad. You know, so what are some tools that people can do, or tactics that people can do to use anger in a positive way, and also to become aware of it? And
Yeah, so I'll go through the process of what I do with my clients. You know, it's not so easy to just like step in and say, okay, this is what you're going to do and this is the method, but I will give concrete ways and techniques that I support my clients with in that process. Okay, so there are certain clients who I agree with you. The number one, the key to it all is consciousness, the emotion, the awareness. Like, what is it that is being triggered within me in this moment? The first thing is, if I take my anger out on you right now, you're going to win. I think that's the biggest one I encourage my clients to sit with, because it is a power thing, right? Control that comes into that dynamic of anger. So you got to figure out are you trying to control in this scenario within your anger? Are you trying to hurt the other person? Are you trying to make them feel your pain? Are you just trying to release? Are you trying to express? Like, what is happening, right?
Yeah.
But again, consciousness, attunement is the biggest thing. Awareness of the body as well, because a lot, like we said, a lot of it has the physiological components. Where are you feeling it, right? Is there tension? There are symptoms and show when you're getting angry, right?
Yeah.
Your face gets red, you tense up. Like you said, you puff out your chest.
Yeah.
There's a lot more components. You got to be attuned to what is happening in the body. Then you go, okay, how do I want to express this? Am I in a way where I can express this healthfully? Probably not. Take some time. Go hit a bag. Go jujitsu, right? Sign up for a kickboxing class, something to release the anger.
Yeah.
Is a good component. Now, if you can't do that, there's muscle tension. So what you do is you put your hands in your fist. Now, don't do it so tight where I'm a female, so I have nails, right? You're going to hurt yourself, but you tense up your muscles. You hold it. It's called muscle tension technique.
Yeah.
And you just hold the anger, and then you go 1, 2, 3, release.
Yeah.
And what that's actually doing in a physiological way is bringing all the tension into spots where your muscles are. And then as you release it, it gives you this like, oh, I could breathe again.
Yeah.
Right? You're no longer as intense, revved up in that process.
Yeah. Anybody that works out aggressively in the gym knows that feeling, you know? And I think most people can connect with that. Like, I mean, there's been many times where I take out my aggression on the weights, you know?
Good.
And I think it's a positive way to release that anger and release that tension. And because, if you don't find a way to release that tension, it builds up and you're just all balled up and it's in your body, you know? So I think movement is definitely a big part of it. You know, there's definitely breathing is a huge tool. I know it sounds simple, but the first thing you notice when you get angry is
constriction of the breath.
Yeah, listen to your breathing. It gets very fast and very, very shallow. You know, it's like you're just very upset.
Hyperventilating, like,
you know, like you just are ready to pounce. You know, you're ready to fight. And if you control, what's his name says this all the time, huge, tall, motivational speaker. Probably the most famous of all time. Anthony.
I want to say Bourdain, but that's not. He's the
Robbins.
chef.
Is it Robbins?
Yeah. Anthony Robbins.
Yeah, he says it all the time. Your physiology controls your psychology.
Your psychology, it does. It gives you the information across the board. Your body.
So if you want to get excited, you act excited. If you want to be calm, you calm yourself down. And a lot of it has to do with your breath. You know, there's so many videos on YouTube and online that you can research when it comes to breathing techniques, and, you know, both for meditation and also for anger management, if that's what you want to call it, ways to control your emotions, you know, because there are times where certain things will put you in a position where you're about to lose control and you need to rationally get yourself out of that situation, because there's times where, you know, all the breathing techniques in the world are not going to help me. I need to get out of there.
You got to get out of this scenario. And I think that's the biggest attunement, right? Consciousness, awareness of, oh, I am angry right now. Label it.
Yeah.
People do not live. That's the biggest thing that I do in my practice is labeling the emotion, normalizing it. Biggest piece.
Yeah.
Because people shame the anger, right? And then that creates a whole nother vicious cycle of lack of control of self, which then is projected out onto everyone else when you have the power within, right? Everyone else in the external power is winning when you're not in control of self.
Yeah.
So labeling it, acknowledging it, and not shaming yourself. Hey, I feel angry right now. That's okay. Now, what I do with my anger is what matters, right? The behavior, the cognitive triangle, right? The cognition, the behavior, the reaction, right? Yeah. So if you look at that, I'm like, oh, okay. Well, if I'm really angry and I want to destroy this room, okay, that's a response, right? But there's a consequence to that. Yeah. Or I can be like, you know what? I'm really angry right now. I need to leave. I need to walk away. I'm going to take some time to myself, calm down, do the breathing techniques, do the muscle tension. Yeah. Do a meditation. Sometimes that doesn't really work.
Go for a walk.
Go for a walk. That's actually walk yourself out of a bad mood, 20 minutes. Yeah. Literally. Yeah. So take that time. But again, the consciousness, the attunement of I'm feeling angry is the biggest component so you can gain control. Yeah. A lot of people with anger don't have that consciousness in that moment. So again, it's like they just react. Right. Right. It's like an animal backed up into a corner. Yeah. What do? They're afraid. They attack. Yeah. It's that same concept. Right. So coming back, taking a break, attuning to, hey, I'm angry. Yeah. And surrender. Yeah. Don't shame it.
That's definitely very helpful. Another thing that I want to talk about is, the roots of where the anger comes from, because I feel like there's different types of anger. Like there could be a situational thing that happens just right now, like boom, I spill my drink all over my board here. And I'm going to be upset because I paid for this. It's expensive. It's
understandable.
It's part of what I do. It's going to slow down some of my projects I'm working on. Like now I'm thinking about, oh, damn, did I have something in my computer that I got destroyed because I spilled this here, and I'm upset, And then there's other anger that people just carry around with them, like throughout their life, from things that have happened in their life, and then they are triggered by other things.
Anger.
Yeah, it's a different type of anger, where, they're just walking around with anger, and everything that reminds them of a certain thing, it triggers them to become aggressive and angry again. And a lot of the times it's kind of subconscious, where it's like deep down there.
Most of it is.
Yeah, you're not really aware of it. And, I think, again, being aware and addressing the root causes of things is a great way to resolve them, from my experience, and I think that's why what you do is important, is to have people, vocalize it and be aware of it and be in control of your life, instead of allowing your emotions and things that happen in your life to control you. It's like, no, I'm not a victim of whatever happened to me. I am in control now. Yeah. I'm not going to let that thing that happened to me as a kid, destroy my life today as an adult. You know, that's the process of becoming an adult, is you take accountability and ownership of your own life. There's no longer anyone to blame but you.
Well, and that's that process of whatever happened to you as a child is not your fault. What you do with it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
And so even like, let's go into because this is part of the process, right? Let's say you were one of my clients and that happened in our session, right?
Yeah.
I would normalize it. You have every right to be upset about that. That is an issue that you just completely lost. Yeah. All your information. You just ruined your keyboard. Be angry.
Yeah.
Allow it.
Yeah.
One thing is, oh no, I shouldn't be angry, even though I'm really angry. Oh my God, but then like I need to come back and control. No, be angry.
Yeah.
But don't rage.
Right.
Right? There's this thing called explosive disorder where people just explode. After, like, if someone naturally had explosive disorder, they would just explode.
Yeah,
Screw it, throw the laptop, all of that stuff.
That goes back to what we're talking about. The prefrontal cortex is what controls or regulates those levels of, allowing that emotion to override your rational thinking. So
and the nervous system.
That as well. So that's why it's very important for people to protect their head. Like CTE is a real thing.
It is.
It is. It's degenerative damage to your brain. And kids that play sports are getting concussions, and people that are fighting getting punched in the head repeatedly. There's so many stories of pro wrestlers that murder their whole family, and they do operation. Their brain is that of like 130-year-old person because they got so much damage to their brain, and they would have not normally done this.
Nope.
They wouldn't have gone on a killing rampage because they no longer could control their emotions.
No.
Their prefrontal cortex is damaged. And you're not in control. It's kind of crazy how we think we're in control, but there's a certain extent to it. There are people that suffer from these psychological and mental health issues that puts them out of control. And what the purpose of this episode or this series is to provide helpful tools and practical tools that people can do to, one, become aware of them, and two, put control in your life. I don't want to be subject to my anger anymore.
No, and I think that goes back to something that I had a thought in the very beginning, where the biggest thing with my clients is they come in and they're like, after maybe 6 sessions, like, why was I living like this before? I said, because you didn't have this information, right? You can't judge yourself for wanting to be a certain way and not having the knowledge to do it, right? You're in it now.
Yeah.
Learning how to do it, get that support. If you are someone who is rageful and automatic response is reaction to anger and you're explosive, go get support.
Yeah.
If you are a woman who is very quieted, has a lot of internal anger, either self-harming or judgments of self, whatever that is, that you're internalizing a lot of that anger, get support.
Yeah.
So that you can understand what is actually happening just for you.
Yeah, there's assertiveness training that I think a lot of people could take to not be that way, to let others trample all over you.
Takes practice.
And take advantage of you and cross your boundaries. You have to be assertive. And I feel women are a little bit more, like you said, it's normalized for men to show their aggression and it's not for women. So I feel that a lot of women suffer with that. They don't have that assertiveness to, speak up for themselves.
We weren't taught it.
Yeah, nobody is,
Yeah.
And, but guess what? Now that you're an adult, like you said, you have the responsibility to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Just if you're an adult and you have kids and you're telling them do this, do that, because your responsibility is to provide for them, protect them, but you're not taking care of yourself, like how are you really helping anybody? So it's important to always look internal. Don't blame other people. Don't, be a victim. It's very easy to do. But it's not going to help you.
No.
And I'm very grateful that there's information out there and there's tools out there for people to use to help them understand and be better. And I know that we can spend like hours talking about this subject, but there are so many other tools that are out there. The purpose of this series is to provide insight, awareness, information, tools for anybody out there that can benefit from this. And also, anybody out there that is looking for a licensed therapist, open mind, marriage and family therapy, is taking clients. Is that correct, or you're not?
Not at the moment.
She's taking therapists that need to.
Yes, I will be hiring therapists to take on clients, but you can always reach out and inquire, and then I can always put you on a wait list. That's always a possibility.
Awesome.
But even if you just need support, like inquire, and I'll lead you the right way if possible.
Awesome. Yeah. And if you want to reach out to me or to Danny, feel free to do so on our Instagram. This show is, I want it to be engaging,
I agree.
I want our audience to ask questions, provide, if they want to share a story or get our feedback on anything.
Yeah, ask away.
Make sure you can DM us, say, hey, this is the situation I'm in. Could you guys bring this up on your next episode? I think this is a good topic. We're also in the future going to be interviewing other people within the mental health industry on specific subjects that they're masters at, whether that's depression, EMDR. It can be, addiction.
Yep.
It could be narcissistic abuse. It could be any specific topic that we feel it's important to bring light to and to talk about, and also to allow others to be aware of it. We'll be talking about that on this show. I'm very grateful, and I think it's going to be a great series that people can benefit from a lot. And I'm also going to be watching your business grow. So open mind. I know your long-term vision and your concept, and I think this podcast is going to be part of that growth, and awareness. I know you want to hire more therapists. You want to have your own location, and we're going to get there. So,
we will, but in the meantime, heal as many souls as possible.
Let's do it. That's what we
get
do.
there.
Awesome. Is there anything you want to leave off before we close out the show? Any other helpful tips or any other last words?
Yeah, no, I just think that, we welcome any insight that you guys want to know about, even if you're a family member who has people with mental health disorders and you have questions on how to support them, ask away, like schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, a lot of those kind of components, ask away. That's what we're here to support. If you have inquiries around just yourself and how to manage certain things, I'll lean in and I'll approach it as if I have my clients in front of me.
And if you guys are in any emergency situation,
call 911.
Yes, or if you're having suicidal thoughts or ideation, make sure you reach out to some professional help.
Or 988 for the suicidal hotline.
That's right. Make sure you guys Subscribe to the YouTube channel where the Open Mind series is going to be on the Dreams to Reality Network. Make sure to follow Danny on her Instagram. Go ahead and follow the Dreams to Reality Instagram and my Instagram as well. And we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.